Yeah, welcome. So we're going to talk about the aesthete personality, which also correlates with ISFP and MBTI and ESI and socionics. It is my take on this, you could say, Jungian personality type, Jungian archetype. And yeah, I typed Simona as the aesthete in one of my sessions, and I found it really profound how she described to me her relation to the typing and the description. So yeah, that's why she's here. Welcome.
Thank you, Olympia. So happy to be here. I'm happy to talk about this. I must say, I was amazed at the accuracy and the detail and the precision. I felt like you X-rayed me, so it was
Yeah, that's cool.
really, really interesting. Yeah, amazing.
Okay, yeah, so the first question is, what stood out to you first about the ST typing? So when I told you about it and when you read the description, everything, what stood out to you?
When you came up with this result, there were two things. On one hand, I know I'm an aesthete. I mean, I know that of myself, not as a personality type, but just yeah, that's a trait, a big trait that I know about myself. But there was only one question in the whole session that we had that was like long and really went in depth and everything. There was only one that I recognized as being about aesthetics. Like, yeah, and I went like, I answered that, and that for me was clear. But for me, it was only one. And when after this whole thing where we touched on everything and one only question about something related to aesthetics, and you came up with the ST, that was like, what? Yeah,
Oh, cool. I didn't know
100%.
that.
How did you get there? I mean, I was like, I was really, really amazed because it's true, it's correct. But how'd you get there? Because we didn't talk about that a lot. So you obviously read it in between other things, and that really impressed me.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know that it was like this little thing that you notice. And yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I test for all the functions in a way,
Of
right? So
course,
I
yeah,
so that's yeah, but cool. Okay, I didn't know that little thing. Okay.
yeah.
So can you can you take us on a little journey, like your personal history, how you could see it relate to the ST? I think you mentioned it to me in the session, how you could like connect the dots between, oh yeah, this is like me and this is how I was, and it was very much, this is very much like the ST. I think, okay, maybe one easier thing, for example, I think I pointed out your background and then you also said, yeah, everything about for you is about aesthetics. Just tell
Yeah,
me a bit more
yeah,
about that.
100%. Um, I think beauty is, I have two of my absolute core values. My really, if you want to describe me in two words, there's two: freedom and beauty. All the rest is accessory, but freedom and beauty, that's what I'm all about. And so the moment I decided, that was age 22, when I decided I'm gonna live my own life and not the life that they want for me, my parents, family, blah, my whole surroundings, everyone, they had kind of figured out what my path was and what my life was going to be, and I was kind of fitting into this, and there was no freedom and no beauty in that. I mean, a little bit probably, but not to my standards, not for my idea of freedom and beauty. And so when I said I'm done with this, I'm going my own path, everything I did was 100% fueled, powered, inspired by freedom and beauty. There was everything that moved me. So I first I went into the visual arts. For 10 years, I restored paintings. I was decorating interiors. I was doing stained glass. I was a stained glass artist, small things and big, stained glass works, windows, doors, incredible stuff, like really. So that was totally about beauty, about art, about aesthetics, 100% about creativity, of course. After that, while doing that, I learned to sing. I went into classical music, into classical singing, and for the next quarter century, I was a professional classical singer. There again, it's all about beauty. It's all about harmony. The harmony in music, obviously, but it's all about the beauty of sound, and then it's also the beauty of everything else. A concert or an opera is a highly aesthetic kind of thing. Everything from the costumes or the dresses, the flowers, the the scenes, like whatever. It's all about beauty so much. And lots of freedom in there and the lifestyle, but also music. Music is so freeing, the way it flows, the way it's just, that is a perfect combination of beauty and freedom for me. And then the profession I have now been doing for a few years now as a life coach, where I basically took the part of what I was doing with my students when I was teaching singing. Apart from the voice, there's also all the rest of how a person tackles the profession and the discipline and the everything about singing and about going on stage. And so I just detached that, and I'm working with non-singers, because human beings we're all, as you know, as you will teach us, we kind of respond to a certain amount of universal truths and traits. And so I took that away from singers, and I'm doing it with others. And there as well, I am guided and bullied by beauty and freedom. These two things won't let me alone. Everything I do is just in worship of beauty and freedom. That's what I teach. That's what I want for people. I want their lives to be beautiful. I want them to be free. I look for beauty in their lives, or lack of beauty, and let's see how we can restore it. And freedom that comes from that, all sorts of freedom. And for me, beauty and freedom are, you can't separate them. So when you came up with this beauty thing and the Aesthete thing, I thought, like, this is 100% me, everything about me, the real me. What I was doing as a small kid, and what I was doing afterwards when I decided to come back to the real me, and not to what they wanted me to be, which was something different.
Yeah, it's really great to hear that story. I think there's like two things coming up for me, kind of ad hoc, I guess. So one of them is how did you feel, I guess, the difference between when you were not in your real personal expression, right? Like when you were not following, I guess, the aesthetic ideals you had. Like how did you feel back then compared to now? Like how was your life?
Put very simply, I was depressed.
Yeah.
I was depressed. I was feeling horrible. I was feeling imprisoned. And I found that everything was so barren, so dry. I was going down the academic path, in literature, and also if there was history of art and stuff, but it wasn't really about that. It was more about the history. It was more about the critics. It was more about the theory. It was more about that. You kind of didn't even notice the art so much for all the rest. There was the whole construct around it, and there was no beauty in that, let alone freedom. But there was no beauty in that at all. And yeah, no, that was not good at all. And all of my high school years, I dropped out of school because I could not stand how ugly that was. The whole thing was ugly. There was no beauty to be found there. I dropped out of school, and then did my path and started the whole university thing, but then left that as well, because there's still no beauty to be found there, not in what I was doing. So
Yeah, so
yeah.
on that note, could you perhaps try to define what beauty is for you, like beauty and aesthetics? Yeah, what that is.
uh, it's many different things. I think the biggest chunk of beauty for me comes from nature, from from yeah, from our planet. Our planet is so beautiful. The creatures on it, the plants, the minerals, the sky, the water, just nature. I think that's unparalleled beauty. I think, you know, and whatever we do usually is an imitation of that. We decorate things with flowers, with animals, with patterns that you would find in nature. If you think about poetry, what are so many poems about? About the moon, about the light, the stars, about the breeze, about the waters, the sea. It's. I think that everyone will find beauty in nature. So beauty for me is anything to do with nature, any skillful, artful imitation of nature, any thing that quotes nature or is inspired by nature is usually beautiful. And this can go into anything. It can go into the harmony of design, of architecture, of even a car, of clothes, of jewelry, of any object, of anything. And then there's the less physical things like music, the beauty of sound and all of that. But I also love finding beauty in more abstract, less physical things like emotions, like human relationships, like visions, dreams, the things that make humanity shift, the things that make humans happier, make them grow, make them. So that for me is that's all about beauty. And wherever I see lack of any of that, that makes me cringe. That for me is ugly. I don't have another word for it. It's horrible. It's yeah. And there again, it's usually tied in with a lack of freedom also. And whenever humans are happy, they're also free. Whenever they grow, whenever there's beautiful relationships are the ones that have freedom in them.
True.
Yeah. And beautiful emotions and feelings are the ones that make you make your heart rise, make you feel lifted, make you feel like you're bouncing, like you're floating, like you're going up. It's always tied to freedom also. Anything that flows like a river, or like a beautiful road, and if you're driving a nice car with a nice engine, that's beauty and freedom also in motion. The way a phrase goes, a musical phrase or a poem or anything beautiful is always free and follows some shape that you will find out in nature somewhere, I find.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a lovely description of how, you know, the sensing flows into the feeling, to create the view of this, you know, of your personality type. Can you also go a bit more into how you see, I think you mentioned already a little bit, but like how you see beauty in like people and people behaviors and like ugliness, you know, that kind of contrast. I think you mentioned it to me also during our session, or that you can sometimes be, I guess it's a bit of a dark side, perhaps like overly critical, like if this is not exactly how it's supposed to look, or you know how it's supposed to be, you can get kind of like, oh, this is ugly, you know, like that's kind of cringe reaction. Can you tell me a
Yeah.
bit more about this?
Yeah, I believe that another form or aspect or another way of seeing beauty, or another thing that beauty is love. And our souls are made of love. Our souls are, that's what they're made of. There's not much else in there. Our souls are made of love. So our souls are beautiful. They're full of beauty. And whatever our souls do is beautiful. It's based in beauty. It creates more beauty. And human beings are beautiful because they are soulful. Human beings are wonderful because they're inhabited by a soul. And then you can have a beautiful body, beautiful face, whatever. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but you are still so beautiful because you have a beautiful soul in there, whoever you are. Now, when we see ugliness, ugliness is actually the opposite, if you will, of beauty. And what's the opposite of love? It's fear. It's not hate or anything. The opposite of love is fear. And if love is the product and the essence of our souls, fear is the product and the essence of our minds. Our minds they have the task to keep us alive, to save us from tigers and fire and, you know, that kind of stuff. And that's why they go into overdrive to keep us alive. Our minds are scared, and that's why we get a better chance of surviving things. But in a world where we're not physically threatened, like our life is not physically threatened every day, our minds don't have any better tasks or jobs to do than try and save us from things that they're scared of, but our souls are not. So they want to save us from our dreams, from our visions, from some other beautiful human beings that they're scared of or whatever. And so from the fear of our minds comes out whatever is ugly in our world. Whatever is ugly in our world it doesn't have any love in it. The thing is, the ugliness is lack of love. So any behavior that you see, any war, any all that greed, all that whatever violence, all the stuff that you see that makes us worry and makes us sad and makes us, what's that? That's just lack of beauty. Why? Because it's lack of love. That's all it is. And what is lack of love? It's fear. All of that stuff only comes from one thing, and that is fear. There's no other reason for anything ugly apart from fear. So beauty is love and ugliness is fear. And that's why the more a human being is full of their souls and manages to keep their mind a bit, you know, reassured and not throwing crazy tantrums all the time, the more beautiful the human being is. And yeah, that will be a human being with not too much fear. And they are so beautiful. They are so full of beauty because they're full of soul. And yeah, that's why my work is about that. I want to see people be more beautiful, become more beautiful, and help others be more beautiful. That's all I do. So the only thing I care about is beauty.
Yeah, but I think it's good you point out. So you kind of point out basically the ethical element in beauty, right? Like how it is, like if you act in a, I guess, fearful way
How do
or
you
hateful
separate
way.
that? How do you separate ethics from aesthetics? Forget it.
Right. So I think it's good you pointed out because I did kind of combine it in my description.
Yes,
And
I saw. I found that, and I thought like 100%, absolutely spot on. Ethics, yeah. I don't know if beauty is a side effect of ethics or the other way around. I don't know, but they go together.
yeah, it's
They
very
go
much
together.
intertwined for you and also for personality type in general. Just like as a side note for people watching, some people with this personality type, they might lean more towards one side or the other. They might lean a little bit more towards the ethical side or lean a bit more towards just the sensing and like the aesthetical, you know, how you say, like enjoyment of things, I suppose. Um, but overall, for this type, the two are very much intertwined. And I think there's other personalities um, where aesthetics, like just the pure aesthetics, just the pure look of it is higher than the ethics of it. You know what I mean? Like they might put just the appearance higher than the ethical or moral aspect. But like how you just described it, it's very much close together, like intertwined.
Yeah, I can't separate them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a bit of a different question. I think, I mean, you probably also knew a little bit about other personality type systems, right? So maybe how was this one different for you, perhaps?
I don't know a lot about them. I know there are many, you know, there are all these tests, and I think we all like to take a test and get another, you know, another point of view, another glimpse, another bias, another something. But I've taken a few of those, but I can't really remember what they say. They usually, there's some truth in it, because obviously there's a lot of competence and good work has gone into them. But this is something completely different. Having you with you have this huge vision, you have this really all-encompassing kind of understanding, and having you get what you need to know out of us to kind of map us is amazing. That's yeah, that goes, yeah, it's nothing to do with taking the 7th test and trying to find out what your personality is. No, that goes really, really deep. That's something else, completely different experience.
Yeah, it's lovely to hear.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what my aim was, right? I don't know how much you know about like, I mean, a couple of years ago, it could have been a while already. I was kind of trying to figure out what people's purposes were in a way, like just overall, like in a general sense. Of course, sometimes people misunderstand and think, okay, let's say someone is an aesthete, and that means, I don't know, everyone must be a singer, like who is an aesthete, for example. And that's not necessarily the case. There's so like art is so like beauty is like how you explain it, it's so multifaceted, so open. There's so many different ways how it could express itself.
Yeah.
So for you, you went into, I think it was painting, right? Like a little bit of painting, a bit of like the singing. I mean, a lot of the singing, and then also, like life coaching, going a bit more, I guess, more into the almost the ethical sphere a bit more, right? Like the one-on-one dealing with people and their identity or their relationships too, I guess. So yeah, there's different ways how it can express itself, but yeah, overall, I try to see, okay, how someone's personality is like in general and how that fits into like what I call a purpose role, like a larger, like higher
I
social
like that
role.
you talk about purpose, because that's what I focus on as well. Purpose, life purpose. And people think my life purpose is my job. My life
Yeah.
purpose, I was born to be a baker. Not necessarily, or I was born to be a mom, or I was born to be, not necessarily. Your life purpose is the same as everyone else's. It's to live this life. To live this life in a way that is right for you. To live this life as yourself and not as someone else, what I was talking about earlier.
Right.
So what makes you is your soul, but you know, you can look at your personality, you can look at many things, and yeah, there are so many things that you can do as you, and that will all feel right, because yeah, you are not your job description. You are a very complex being with your personal desires, your personal personality. Yeah, personality.
Yeah.
It goes also beyond that, but your mission, your and there are so many things that will feel aligned. It's not that you change professions because necessarily because I hate it, I need to find something else. In my case, I didn't hate any of that. I loved them all. I just took the next one that looked like the next expansion, the next thing that, this is nice as well. It's aligned as well, and I could do that as well. But I could go back. I could go back to painting. I was perfectly happy. Back to singing, perfectly happy. I find that it's just like even more. So, but when it's aligned, it's aligned. You know you're happy. You know you're doing something that is in your alignment, in your within.
I guess in your sphere, I mean, you could say niche, or I mean, I also say your natural element, I guess.
Exactly,
like that's how I try to describe it.
Your values also, your values, I believe. And you know, if you look at beauty and freedom, so many things that you can do that are related to beauty and freedom. I'm sure there's another 77 professions we haven't thought of that would be about some form of beauty and freedom, and it could probably all be good.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here as like an example, you know, right, real life example to kind of see what it can look like. And I think what you just described was also almost like different life stages, right? Like how like your purpose, or like, I don't know if you would say your purpose changed or evolved per se, but they were like different stages you reached, or different
Say the
areas.
professions were in different stages, but the feeling is actually always the same. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
It hasn't changed. I mean, the motive, the motor, the engine, the why, you know, they say, what's your why? What's your reason? That hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. And I guess it's, would you say it's just expressing who you are that makes it like this?
That's what it is. It's expressing who you are, and there's many ways you can express it. And you can also do them all at the same time. I mean, I still do creative things like visual arts. I still sing. I'm just not doing a full-time professional anymore. I'm just doing what I like to do. The same with creating, because you only have so many hours in your day, and you can't do everything all the time. It's impossible. Right. And so now I'm focusing on something else. But all of these things will always be part of me, of who I am. And I'm sure I'll discover more and add them as well, and they'll all come into. There's so many things that align with what your soul likes. The thing is, you got to do whatever it is that your soul likes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of disconnected from that, right? So it's good that you have found a way to make it work, right? So yeah. Okay, and so, okay, a different question. So who would you recommend this kind of typing for, if you could summarize it, maybe?
Everyone. I would recommend that really for everyone, because since it's not really so much about what you do, you know, what you choose and all of that, but it's a lot more, start with who you are, and then you will find things that you will want to do. And I think that this is a very good tool for having a close and honest look at you through someone else's eyes. Because you don't know us clients, we come to you for the first time, so you come completely fresh, you have no idea, and you look at everything we give you with lots of knowledge, lots of experience, but with completely fresh eyes. So I think this is of the greatest value, really. Getting a different look is like looking at yourself in a different mirror, a mirror that gives you a new image of you that you've never seen before, and that will obviously you'll recognize yourself, but it looks like, wow, that's me. I would recommend that to everyone, no matter who you are. It's for your own life, it can be for the profession, it can be for your relationships, it can be for anything, but getting the more awareness you have of how you work, of how you tick, the better things will work anyway, in any aspect of your life. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'm a
great.
big fan and a big
Thank you so much.
recommender.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, is there any other little thing you would like to mention that maybe that we haven't mentioned yet, or you would like talk about?
No, the only thing is, I'm really glad we did that together. I'm in a very busy moment of my life. I'm creating a lot of things. I'm running around like crazy, loving it, but it's just, the sheer hours in your day. And I just had when I first got in touch with you, and a couple of times I had quick looks at what you have out there, at your videos, at your texts, at your on the website, everything. And I'm really amazed at the sheer volume of your experience of and also of the resources and stuff that you put out there for everyone. Like you make it clear for everyone, you make it easy for everyone. I haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, of the stuff that you have out there. I'm sure I got enough to discover for the next, I don't know, whenever I get around to doing it. But when I saw that, and obviously you came recommended, by someone whose judgment I trust completely, that would have been enough. But then when I saw what you have out there, there was such a confirmation of how solid this all is. Your whole world that you're creating there, and so yeah, this is something. So you were a real discovery. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I can only say I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. That I guess, yeah, that's just what I'm trying to do, right? My aim, to show a different view on what people are like, what their personalities are.
Yeah.
I did kind of create my own little world, I suppose,
Yeah, it
online.
is.
Yeah.
It is a whole universe, and there's the thing. You can always go out there and do tests and do it. Figure it out. There's lots of resources, lots of information. You can find everything, but no, having someone do it with you is something completely different. So, all the amazing stuff that you put out there is to give us a vision, give us more clarity and everything, but it will never replace the work that you do with every single person. So it's an incredible frame to have it all in, and it adds loads of value, but it will never replace the actual work, the actual session of your readings, your typings. That's yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's true. I think it's how you referred to it earlier, when like I can look at you from fresh eyes and the mirror image and all that stuff. When you just do everything by yourself alone, you don't have that, right? Like you're just in your echo chamber, and it can be really hard to see what's actually going on with you.
Yeah, it's tough. You get a partial view, but you don't go half as deep, and yeah.
Yeah, all right. I think then we can close it here. I don't have any more questions. Once again, thank you so much for joining me here. It was a pleasure
Great
working with
pleasure for
you.
me. Thank you.
Yeah, having
Yeah.
you here. So yeah, if you want to get typed by me, just go into the description. You can find my link. It's on my website, typevolution.com/services. So if you want to be typed like Simona, then you can find it all in the description box. And yeah, have a good day and bye.
Bye bye.